Hi, my name is Kelsey Hamilton, and I am here recording my audio analysis of a reading program. And before I share with you what program I chose, I will go over some characteristics of how our brain learns how to read. The first thing I'd like to share with you are the three neural systems that are required to work together when we are decoding or reading a word. The first thing that will happen is the visual processing. This is when our eyes scan the letters, and our brains might think something like, "What do I see?" And the letters that it would see, for example, could be D, O, G. The next step in the processing is the auditory processing, and that's when the letters are then decoded into phonemes or to sounds. So the letters that were originally D, O, G then turn into the sounds that they make of D, A, G. The next step of our brain that will come to work is when the part of our brain supplies information to the word that we just read. So it goes from D-O-G to D-A-G to the conclusion that this is a furry friendly animal that barks. Now I want to share with you the skills that are involved in reading, and I'll go over them very briefly. The first skill that's fundamental in reading is phonological and phonemic awareness. Phonological awareness is when we are able to break down the text that we read from large to small. For example, taking sentences and breaking it into words, and then taking words and turning them into syllables, and then taking syllables and turning them into phonemes. Phonemic awareness is more when we are able to segment words into their component phonemes, and when we are also able to switch out the phonemes for different phonemes. The next step would be the alphabetic principle and phonics, and this is when spoken words, the understanding that spoken words are made up into phonemes and that phonemes are represented as written text as letters. So kind of intermingling the sounds with the visual symbol represented for each. Next, we go into the vocab. Readers must possess a word in their mental dictionary in order to recognize it in print. This is where environment and upbringing plays a large role. The more exposure that students have to language and to words and to experiences in text, the larger vocabulary they'll have and the more likely they'll be able to recognize it in text. Next, we go into fluency. Fluency is the ability to read text orally with speed, accuracy, and expression, and this is supportive in students in the way that it'll help them understand what they're reading. When students can't read fluently and they're too focused on what the letters say and what sounds they make, they're going to forget what they read, and then their comprehension will decrease. This is a perfectly way into the last step, which is text comprehension. And this is when students have to own everything they've learned and put it all together. So they have to identify words, then they have to use knowledge outside of the text, they have to access word meaning within context, recognize grammar, draw inferences, and self-monitor and put all of those things together to make sense of the text. So now that I've shared some characteristics of how our brain learns how to read, I'm going to go into the program that I chose. The program that I chose is called Wonders, and it's a K-6 reading program that teachers can use. It was published in 2014, and the publisher was McGraw-Hill Education. The next question I need to cover is, how is the program used for classroom instruction and student learning activities based on knowledge of brain regions and specializations? What that means to me is, how is this used in the classroom, and how is it supportive of the brain and how we know it works? My answer is, it's used in the classroom because it provides tools and a very deep curriculum that aligns with the skills involved in reading that I just covered. Teachers can follow the curriculum as a guideline for exact day-to-day instruction in all three settings in all three tiers of Tier 1 instruction with the whole class, Tier 2 and Tier 3 with small group and intense individualized instruction, which is a great benefit. In my opinion, it has mixed approaches to student learning in the context of whole brain learning and brain development. Some strategies instigate maximum brain activities, and some examples are partner talk or visual stimuli that are provided, like pictures and presentations that make the content more engaging and memorable. Other strategies in the curriculum are very dull and unengaging, And examples of boring content are the scripted teacher lesson plans or how it instructs teachers to introduce the vocabulary. My background and familiarity with the program is positive, and I feel like I do have a lot of experience, but this will be my third year, so I've been using it my first, my second, and I'm planning to use it again in my third year. My experience with this program is mixed though. There are some aspects of the curriculum that I love and that I use weekly, but there are also other components of the program that I have never familiarized myself with. So that doesn't mean that they're negative, but I just haven't taken the time to learn them. My favorite parts of the Wonders program are its weekly vocab words that I mentioned previously. The cool thing about them is that they're tied into the week's assigned reading, and I really take the time to teach the vocab in a way that's engaging and memorable and triggers emotion, so my students love it. And it's also exciting when we can tie it to our weekly reading. It also has a large selection of resources that are available to me, and I can use them whenever I want, and they're free. And there's also level guided reading books, and I love that because I do guided reading every day, and it's already leveled for me, and it provides text that's meaningful to my students. I use everything that I just mentioned weekly, and I cycle through all 6 units within my school year. And lastly, the major findings of this program. In my opinion, I think this is a great reading program, especially for beginning teachers. It's built to address the Common Core standards in all of the reading skills that I mentioned in the beginning. So that means that this is a very comprehensive program. My only piece of advice for new users is to never supplement this program in its entirety while disregarding your own skills and knowledge. And what that really means to me is that teachers truly know what their students need and the program doesn't. Wonders provides many valuable tools, but teachers are the masters of their ships. They know where to take their students, and they know how to enrich their journey along the way, and Wonders should be used as a resource in that journey. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my audio analysis, and I hope it was helpful, and thank you so much for listening. Bye!